Hi, you guys. It's Crystal Crawford, entrepreneurographer, quickie number 4. I it's Christmas time, after Christmas, and this is sort of that time of the year where as life creators, business creators, we start looking at, what we want 2018 to be like. And I know for myself, it's like looking at all the different creations that I wanted to have in the queue to shine for the new year and all this stuff. But I wanted to talk a little bit about today about holdback. Now, one of the things that I've been really looking at and really changing for myself is this massive swath in my life. It's not just an area, it's like across the board where I've been holding back, holding back my best self, holding back my best self. I don't even know what I mean by that. Really just holding back me. And it shows up in all kinds of different ways all over the place. I go to a lot of live access classes, and you get up at the microphone in these classes and you ask a question. And in the last 6 months, I haven't asked as many questions, because when I was getting up and asking questions, I was getting this receiving and this energies from the facilitators I wasn't willing to receive anymore. And so I've been looking at this place where I'll get to a certain point with something. I'll get to a certain point, and then I'm like, scuttle away or scurry away energetically, if not mostly energetically. Now, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, when you're putting one thing out in the world, but energetically you're like holding back, that's when it can't create. And so I started really looking at like the people that I admire that energetically don't do that. And how do you know? You're typically, you want to look at who you're attracted to, like who you watch, and you want to start to look at what they're being, because this is where you're going to get a lot of information, one, about who you are, that you may not be being, about what you enjoy and who you are, that you may not be being. You're going to get a lot of information about yourself, because typically what you're attracted to in other people is what you are that you may not currently be choosing, right? And these people are just being it out loud, and they've created a business from it, or they've created a book from it, or they've created in the world because that's how you found them, and that's how you get to watch them as they're creating stuff, right? So that's what I find with the people that I admire, that they are being something that in the past I used to tell myself I didn't have. But what I've learned that's different is that they're being something that I actually am, that I may not be being right now. So I've been looking at that for myself, because I have a few people in particular that have been really standing out, and they have vibrant businesses and make, $1 million a year and really enjoy it. And lots of people really love being in their sphere. And so I've been like, okay, so what would it be like to have more of that? And really looking at my world where I'm not choosing to be that. And, that's always an interesting thing to look at. It's like, how do you be more? Like when you notice somebody's being, it's like, it's kind of easy when somebody's doing something, they've done a certain kind of landing page, or they did a kind of webinar thingy, and you can duplicate that, right? You can look at that and you can go, it's sort of more cognitively understandable to duplicate something somebody's doing. But to duplicate and be something else, what is that? And so I've looked at, your invitation is to look at this from all different kinds of angles. Get a session with somebody if you need to, because that's what I've got a session with somebody. I was like, can you help me look at this thing? Because what was coming up when I was looking at these energies where these people were willing to just be and receive judgment and receive feedback and receive all this stuff that I was avoiding. I didn't want to be, it was this whole energy of like, I didn't want to be exposed, and I didn't want to be found out. And really, when you look at my world, it's like, be found out for what? Like, I'm not out robbing banks. But it was an energy that I'd carried with me. This whole hiding thing has been with me since I can remember. And some of these things that we function from unconsciously have been in our DNA, energetic DNA, for a long time. Because if we look at the fact that we're infinite beings, we've been around a long time. And so as you move forward in your journey, creating your business, what's going to come up is all this stuff. And one of the things, as you're looking at expanding and having a bigger business, that you have to be willing to look at is, what am I not willing to be? That if I were willing to be it, would create too much money in my life. And so as I've been looking at that, I'm like, wow, I'm not willing to receive judgment. I'm not willing to receive confrontation. I'm not willing to receive being called out. In fact, just before it gets to that point, I make sure I have enough back doors open that I can leave. And it's just not, it created for me, And now it's not going to create for me moving forward. Like, I have to choose something else. And that's the coolest thing about starting to have an awareness of where you go into being less than you, is that once you have that awareness, you don't have to make yourself wrong for that anymore. You can just go, wow, I choose to be less here. As soon as I put my event on Facebook, I choose to be less. As soon as I put my webinar out, I choose to be less. Wow, what is it going to take to change that? And so the question that I'm asking myself that I want to give to you is, if I weren't holding back, what would I choose? And it brings up a lot of energy for me. Like, in my chest, it kind of goes, wah. But what I'm combining it with, so I'm combining the question, if I weren't holding back, what would I choose? I'm combining that with putting all of my barriers down and really going, okay, so what would it be like to receive anything that comes out of this choice? This choice to ask a question, this choice to do a video, this choice to create this program in this way, this choice, whatever choice that is. What would it be like to receive anything that might show up as a result of this choice? Because for all of you guys that have, if you've had a rough life or you've had abuse in your world or anything like that, you're used to trying to have to protect yourself. But that only got you so far. And if you try to protect yourself going forward, you get into protecting yourself from you and success and all the things that you're actually capable of. So what would it be like to not hold back here? And would I be willing to push all my energetic barriers down and just receive anything, including how brilliant you might be, with total ease? And if you like this, please subscribe, please share, please like so that other people can find it. I adore you. I will see you next week.